Good morning, students. Hope all of you are fine. Beta, today this lecture is related to chapter 2 and name of the chapter is Writing and City Life. As this chapter you have done earlier also, so this is a revision lecture for this chapter. This chapter is about the city life of Mesopotamia, that how the city life began in Mesopotamia. Beta, it was the land between the two rivers, and name of those river was Euphrates and the Tigris. And this Mesopotamian civilization is known for its prosperity, city life, its voluminous and rich literature, and its mathematics and astronomy. So what we came to know by this, it means that Mesopotamian civilization, it was a prosperous civilization and it was a urban civilization. And in Mesopotamia, the writing system and literature spread to the various part like eastern Mediterranean, northern Syria, and also with Turkey. And even all the kingdoms that were surrounding this region, they were writing to one another. It means there was communication in written. So here in this chapter we will explore the connection between city life and writing, and then look at some outcomes of a sustained tradition of writing. It means if continuously this civilization was writing, they were preserving their sources, then there were so many benefits for historian regarding this literary sources. So in the beginning of recorded history, this land was mainly the urbanized and it was called Sumer and Akkad. But when Babylon became an important city, then after that the term Babylonia was used for the southern region. As you know, means these names are just regarded after any specific term. Like when Babylon became important city, then it was called Babylonia. In the same way, when the Assyrians established their kingdom, then this region became to be known as Assyria. And the first known language of the land was Sumerian. But later on, it was replaced by Akkadian when these Akkadian speakers arrived. So as you know beta, which type of people arrive in particular area, तो उसके अकॉर्डिंग जो स्पेसिफिकेशंस होती हैं उस एरिया की, जो फीचर्स होते हैं, दो दैट ऑल्सो चेंज. And this Akkadian language flourished till about Alexander time. As you know, Alexander was also the world conqueror, right? Then archaeology in Mesopotamia began in 1840. The two very important sites are Uruk and Mari. In these two sites, excavation continued for decades. And do you know beta, these were the very long-term projects. In that, we study hundreds of Mesopotamian buildings, statues, ornaments, graves, tools and seals as sources. But there are thousands of written documents also. It means there are archaeological sources also, and the literary sources are also available regarding the Mesopotamian civilization. This Mesopotamia, it was important to European because in their holy book Bible, there was a description about Mesopotamia. So travelers and scholars of Europe looked on Mesopotamia as a kind of ancestral land. And when archaeological work began in the area, there was an attempt to prove the literal truth of the Old Testament. Means whatever was written in the Bible about Mesopotamia, it also proved to be truth. So beta, and do you know that this name Mesopotamia, it is derived from the Greek word mesos, meaning middle, and potamos, meaning river. It means the area that lie in the middle of two rivers. So this way it was known as Mesopotamia. Now beta, the next topic, this is about the geography of Mesopotamia. Like Iraq. Iraq is a land of diverse environment. In the northeast lie green undulating plains, gradually rising to tree-covered mountain ranges with clear streams and wildflowers with enough rainfall to grow crops. So what do you come to know by this specification? It means this area Mesopotamia at present, that is known as Iraq, it has a rich culture, or we can say means agriculture was good, physical features were good over there, and the land was suitable for agriculture. And even here agriculture began between 7000 and 6000 BC, and north of this there was a stretch of upland called a steppe. Because steppe is a large plain land that is in Central Asia, and even where animal herding offers people a better livelihood than agriculture. As this steppe, these were the basically grassland, so that is why these steppes, these were very much suitable for the animal herding. After the winter rains, sheep and goats feed on the grasses and low shrubs that grow here. As you know that these shrubs and grasses, these provide a very good fodder for these sheep and goats. So that is why this land was suitable for agriculture. To the east, tributaries of Tigris provide routes of communication into mountains of Iran. The south is a desert, and this is where the first cities and writing emerged. If you will see here beta on this page, this map is also given. Then even desert could support cities because the rivers Euphrates and Tigris. Means otherwise if we take normal things, so deserts deserts do not support densely population, but here this desert, they were also supporting the cities because of these two rivers which rise in the northern mountains and which carry lots of silt. Silt hota hai beta, that is very fine particles of soil that is deposited by the river when it just enter in the lower course. So when they flood or when their water is let out on the fields, fertile silt is deposited. So as I was telling you that when the river just come to its lower course, then it deposited silt. And do you know that the deltas are also formed like this? Like if we talk about the Sundarban Delta or Kaveri Delta, there when a river reached to the mouth near to the ocean, then its speed become very slow, and it deposit all its silt over there. So that so that particular area became very fertile. So after the Euphrates, this river has entered the desert. Its water flows out into small channels, and these channels flood their banks and in the past function as irrigation canals. It means these canals were natural canals, and water could be let into the fields of wheat, barley, peas or lentils. It means there these type of crops were grown in Mesopotamia, these wheat, barley, peas and lentils. If we talk about the all ancient system of the Roman Empire, it was the agriculture of southern Mesopotamia that was the most productive, even though the region didn't have sufficient rainfall to grow crops, but still this area was most productive. And even in this area, not only agriculture, Mesopotamian sheep and goats that grazed on the steppe, the northeastern plains and the mountain slopes, these also produced meat, milk and wool in abundance. So whatever we have read till now means the physical features of this Mesopotamia, These were very supportive factors, right? Like it was suitable for the herding of cattle also. It was suitable for the agriculture also, like this wheat, barley they were producing, and even it was good for the meat, milk and wool also. So all these things were available in abundance, in sufficient quantity. Further, fish was available in rivers and date palms gave fruit in summer. So, however, if we think about it, the cities grew simply because of the rural prosperity, because rural area were also prosperous. We shall discuss the other factors, but first we will clear about the city life. That what because this chapter that is only about the city life of Mesopotamia. So, what was the significance of the urbanism? Urbanism means when so many people or large number of population reside in cities, that is known as urbanization. And as you know that there is a lot of significance of urbanization. So cities and towns, they are not just places with large population, but it is the sphere when the economy develop, and at that time other than food production also there are so many advantages when the towns they are developed in cluster. So urban economies comprise besides food production, trade, manufactures and services. As we know that rural area, those of rural area, that prominent feature is agriculture activities. But of cities, the prominent factors are trade and manufacture and other services. So city people, they are known to be self-sufficient and depend on the products or services of village people. So there is a continuous interaction between the rural as well as urban people. So even the carver of a stone seal require bronze tools that he himself cannot make, and colored stone for the seal that he doesn't know where to get. So his specialization is fine carving, not trading. Like carver, beta who carved something. So in this example, we are talking about the stone seals. Seal means at present it is known as the stamp, right? So जो उसको भी बनाया जाता था, so for that also they need the bronze tools. That a carver जो seal बनाने वाला he cannot make it himself. So it means all those people they are interdependent on each other. Like at present also, if we talk about us, we are also interdependent. Suppose one thing is produced in the field, so but that thing is used by other people. So here in this example, for to make these seals, the carver needs bronze tools, and those tools were made by other people. So, and even the whosoever was making the bronze tools, even he himself cannot go out to get the metal. So this way there was a division of labor, and that is a mark of urban life. Means everybody has a specific type of work. So beta, this was about the today's lecture, and tomorrow we will discuss about the movement of goods into cities. Thank you and have a nice day.